and welcome back to analyzing Naruto through a queer lens. So last episode we went through volume 1, which is right there. I did record that a while ago, like significantly longer gap than I'm intending for this video's release. And this also, I'm recording this before I'm actually releasing that first video, but I'm just letting you guys know that there might be some details that I've forgotten about it. I did try and refresh myself a little bit, like refreshing sort of with what happened, but I want to get into it and stuff, and we've got Naruto Uzumaki to help us out. So yeah, I guess from what I remember, basically last volume wasn't that gay, but we were also still being introduced to the characters in general, and especially like Sakura and Sasuke have been introduced together. Like it's very much been a trio scenario, so that it does make sense. Like it just hasn't felt particularly like there's been a lot of romance, like actual romantic chemistry among any of them. Like there's definitely been talk about crushes and stuff, like, you know, Sakura likes Sasuke, but it comes across that it's just purely because Sasuke is the most attractive guy, like, and then, like, Naruto likes Sakura because she's also pretty. Like, there's very much just based on, like, it's like, yeah, you're hot, I like you just because of that. And, like, it seems like these characters don't know each other very well. But we're gonna get into volume 2, so the way this works, I'm gonna read a chapter, then give back my thoughts, and just talk about it and stuff. So yeah, we're specifically looking at Naruto through a queer lens, because I've heard this series gets kind of gay, and I find this sort of thing fascinating. So yeah, well, let's get into it. I want to kind of just get started reading. I realized last time that I'm like, oh, I actually really like Naruto. I don't like some aspects, like the humor isn't really my thing, and some of the way that characters talk about women, not great, but like the actual sort of story and stuff, like it's definitely like reminds me that I'm like, oh, I actually do really enjoy like battle shonen. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. Okay, so again, I really liked this chapter. So now it did make a lot more sense why these three have been, like, because I said that it very much feels like that they're being introduced and set up as a trio, and this chapter really feels like payoff for that, and so, like it's been setting up thematically. So basically, the last chapter, they like Kakashi's like, yeah, you guys failed, you didn't fulfill my test, and then he's basically given them like a sort of follow up. He's basically like, hey, you guys failed because you were assigned to be a team and you all was selfish and like didn't work as a team, and then like, yeah, basically Kakashi's like, yeah, you guys didn't work as a team, and he's like, okay, I'll give you guys like one last chance, like, and he tests them with like food, and they pass because they share the food with each other, and yeah, like, it's like, oh, okay, this is very much why we've been set up that as a group, like it was sort of laying down this thematic theme, like what the thematic framework, and I'm like, yes, okay, this is good stuff. I feel like that, yeah, and I also feel like that it's very much sort of leaning, because this feels kind of like it's in that sort of coming of age, like Naruto's like still pretty young and stuff, and yeah, like we're getting some sort of darker ideas, you know, like setting up that this isn't your typical sort of hero story, because like talking about like, oh, you know, like I'm gonna do stuff like and be a hero, and it's like, yeah, if you do stupid stuff like that, you're gonna die, which is like a pretty brutal thing to say, but I feel like it sort of, you know, like, yeah, it definitely is setting up that I'm curious like how they're gonna follow through with this idea, that, you know, like these guys aren't like, they're in a pretty dangerous situation and stuff, and okay, so I know we're going through a queer lens and stuff, but like I do really like the scene where like Sasuke is the one that gives up the food first. Also because I feel like that we've been established that Sakura is kind of mean so far. But, you know, I feel like it's also very important for Sasuke to be the one to do it, even though like he like is like, oh, you know, you're no use to me if you know you do stuff. But I feel like that it helps, because so far we've seen him just be angsty and jerk. I feel like this adds a bit of a sense, like layers to his character, that's like, okay, like underneath his angst and revenge and clear trauma, he's probably like a decent guy under that. He's just, you know, trying to be cool, you know, caught up in his whole revenge plot thing. Like, I feel like it's very important for him to be the one to like go, like, to you know, hand out that olive branch. And like, I guess like you could assign sort of like gay points, and especially because like Naruto's blushing, but Naruto spends this entire chapter blushing at everything. Like, this doofus blushes a lot. Like, he blushes, you know, like, from food, and then, like, blushes at Sakura, and then blushes at, like, Kakashi being cool and stuff. Like, I feel like that it's difficult to judge, Naruto blushing, because it seems to be that he blushes at everything. Like, yeah, I don't know, maybe Kishimoto just really likes drawing, like, lines on the face. Is that why he's got the extra lines? Bro just likes drawing lines on his characters' faces. But yeah, I feel like it was just a nice scene, because so far we haven't really seen, like Sasuke be anything besides angsty and stuff, so it's nice for him to do that, and then, like, Sakura sort of follows suit, which makes sense, because, you know, like, Sakura likes Sasuke and stuff, so she's probably partially doing that to be impressive, but also because we had, in the last volume, there was, like, a thing where she was thinking about, like, being nicer and stuff, so this could also be seen as kind of payoff for that, like, she's saying, oh, okay, Sasuke's doing a nice gesture and stuff, for Naruto, and it's like, you know, she had thought that maybe I should be nicer too, and, like, she's sort of following through on that, and I also just like that when, that he says that they passed this little heart. I don't know. That's just cute. And, like, he just, like, look how happy he looks. He's like, yay, my children. I mean, he's definitely sort of, I know that My Hero Academia came out later, but I'm using that as a reference point because that's what I'm more familiar with. But yeah, definitely even that sort of Aizawa vibes of being like, I've never passed anyone. Which makes me, like, I can understand. Okay, so did they purposely set Naruto to be under Kakashi? Because I know that, like, no one likes Naruto. So are they trying to make sure that, like, Naruto fails? Like, why is Sasuke here? Because, like, Sasuke is one of the top students, so it feels weird for, like, your best potential shinobi to be put under Kakashi. Or is he being put there, like, to extra test him? Because they're like, maybe we'll finally have someone that's good enough to pass. Sakura, I have no specific reason beyond, like, she's another one of the main characters. But yeah, it is interesting to think the internal logic as to why, specifically, they've been put under the things. And I like that the, what's his name? Iruka. Okay, Iruka's his friend, dude. I like that he's still here, that he hasn't been forgotten. Because I think he's the dude from chapter 1. I'm really bad at character names, and I do know that I lose track of these characters, because I remember when I first read the series, there's, like, a redhead lady, but, like, being manga, she doesn't look like red hair. And I got it mixed up with Tsunade for, like, chapters on end before realizing they were two completely different characters. So I do know that this is a potential thing to watch out for, is to make sure I keep track of who's actually who. But yeah, overall, I like this, and, you know, it was just sort of a wholesome, and I feel like I'm getting a sense of, like, okay, this is, like, what the series, like, it feels like we're actually getting into it, like, a lot more than, like, volume 1 was very much setting up, and now it's, like, cool, we're enough into it that we're getting, I like it, and I also just like these guys are just, like, sort of casually eating together, like, wait, so, like, because the Hokage is, like, their president, leader person, like, can anyone just ask them for lunch, like, is it just based on, like, if they like them enough? Yeah, I'm not sure I fully understand how the world works, and stuff. I do hope that Sakura gets to do a little bit that's, like, not everything feeling like it's just being defined by Sasuke. Just because, like, I know, like, Sasuke is also very, like, everyone's sort of a bit, like, defined by their one sort of thing, but I don't know, I think maybe I'm just worried because I know that, like, how much people complain about sort of Sakura and stuff, and I'm worried, I'm like, oh, please have more here than just being like, oh, I don't know, I think it's also just annoying because it happens in so many things, like, it's, I'm just having, like, brain flashes of, like, yes, female characters that you're like, oh, this could be a compelling character, and then as soon as it's, like, you realize, oh, they have a crush on one of, usually it's main guy, not side, that is a difference, usually it is main dude that the girl's crushing over, rather than the rival sidekick guy, but, yeah, that does tend to be, like, oof. I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, where you're just like, dang it, this character's just gonna lust over, not even lust, like, just fawn over them. Like, lust feels too intense. And, yeah. But, overall, I did like this chapter. The art's cool. I like how they sort of, like, some of the cartoony sort of expressions they have. I don't think Sasuke's really gotten any of that, like, I don't know what you would call the expression. Like, but, like, Sakura and Naruto have it in this chapter. Like, this sort of face that Sakura's got, I'm showing the wrong page. Like, so yeah, she's got sort of this, like, it feels like sort of that, like, more, like, One Piece-y cartoony style. But yeah, so I guess they finished the exam now, so I'm curious if, like, it's going to go straight into another arc, or if we're gonna have, like, maybe a couple of chapters of just doing fun little side quests, kind of like what we had before we got to this bit. Like, I'm curious how episodic it starts out, because I do know that is quite common for these sort of series to start out more episodic and gradually get more serialized and story focused the further you get into it. Okay, this chapter further confirms my idea that we're starting to really actually get into the meat and potatoes of the series. So this one we kind of get, it's implied there's maybe a little bit of a time skip in, like, maybe a couple of weeks, months, that kind of thing, like, you know, just being a ninja, like, where they've been doing basically very minor tasks, like they're, you know, saving a cat, stuff, but they're kind of sick of it, because I guess they want to be doing cooler stuff than that. I mean, Naruto wants to be Hokage, so, you know, he's got that ambition and stuff, and I don't know, it makes sense for him that, you know, he wants to be doing something greater. Sasuke's also kind of got a bit of, they all kind of, I feel like, have a bit of an ego, in that, like, they're like, yeah, I can do something cooler than this. I don't think they understand, I mean, they are children, so they probably just don't understand, like, that, yeah, big, cool fights are not fun. Like, they probably have heard stories about different, like, ninjas having cool, like, battles and stuff, and they probably, that's probably, I mean, I guess it makes sense, like, okay, like, so do the ninjas, like, because it sounds like there's, like, a ninja force, and I guess, like, all our main sort of characters are ninjas, but I'm guessing there's how many times am I gonna say ninja in the same sentence? Like, I'm guessing there's normal civilians that aren't ninjas and stuff, so, like, I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, Heroes in My Hero Academia. Like, if you're going into that, you probably want to be doing certain things, like, cool stuff. Like, if you wanted to just be a general sort of civilian helper person, you would just do that instead of going into an occupation like this. I don't know if it's been established yet. Maybe I'm forgetting something about, like, how they explain, like, sort of things. But, it, like, this chapter also does have a fair bit of, like, world-building stuff. So, like, they're explaining that, like, yeah, they have different ranks, and because these guys are, like, basically the lowest of low rank, they're getting just the most menial tasks that the ninjas are asked to do. Which makes sense. Like, they're like, what, 12? Like, the fact that you guys are contributing anything to society besides, I don't know, like, when did this come out? I'm, like, playing on your Xbox or something, but I'm like, I don't know, wait, what year was this? What console was at the time? 1999. When did the Xbox? Okay, wait, 1999. I think that was like a PlayStation 1. That was probably, I don't know my console eras. Anyway, it doesn't matter what they're doing, but, like, yeah. I also have noticed that the art is, like, he likes to draw a lot of, like, little guys. I don't know if it's that they've got more panels, but it feels like that a lot of the characters are a lot smaller. Maybe that's partially because I've been drawing stuff on, like, A5 pages, and I've started to notice how small sometimes your art has to get. But yeah, there just seems to be a lot of little guys. So yeah, it's like, and they seem to get to talk to the actual Hokage a lot. Like, is this normal? I feel like the like, I mean, I don't talk to whatever my world's equivalent is very often. I don't know, maybe he likes Naruto or something. And it's like, yeah, you guys can do a slightly higher, like, quest and thing, and then we've got, like, this sort of dude that's, I think he's implied to maybe be, like, a drunk. Like, I think that's supposed to be an alcohol bottle. There's no sort of translation doodah to indicate what the kanji means. I'm gonna guess it's maybe, like, sake or something. And yeah. Also, is Sakura the tallest of the three? Like, I know that Sasuke and Sakura seem to be very similar heights. Oh, wait, are we counting Sasuke from the top of his hair? That is so cheating. Because, like, there's 3 lines for their heights, and I'm like, Sakura's actual, like, head seems to be taller. It's just Sasuke's winning because he's got spiky anime hair. Naruto, you just need to style your hair like Cloud from Final Fantasy, and then you'll be the tallest, because apparently your hairstyle counts. So yeah, we're getting sort of on this mission, and like Naruto's kind of annoying. He's like, I'm gonna be the best, and this old dude's like, yeah, I have no respect for you, child, and he's like, you suck. I'm gonna be like the president, and he's like, even if you're the president, I still hate you, child. And then we learn a bit more about like the different countries, which is kind of cool. So yeah, definitely getting a bit of like world building stuff in this chapter. Wait, so how many chapters are we in? Because I do know that you get, like, in Shonen Jump, I think you get around 10 chapters. No, wait. I know that there is a grace period, like, where you've got a certain amount of chapters before you can just immediately get cut. And I think it is around 10, because I think a lot of the ones that I'm thinking of that are quite short are, like, 14 chapters sort of thing. And you get, like, about 3 chapters to wrap up. So this is starting to get... So this is, like, chapter 9. So we are starting to get into that territory where it's like, okay, we're not suspecting that we're maybe immediately going to get cancelled, or, like, we're starting to ramp things up and actually get into the story, it feels like. I'm not that this setup stuff's being boring. Like, I'm actually quite glad that we've had this sort of space, and now it's like, okay, cool. Like, the pacing so far feels actually quite nice, which I know that, like, Naruto is known for having filler and stuff. Like, that is the anime, so I'm not sure if, like, how people perceive the manga's pacing. I know it, like, these things are slower than modern stuff, but I don't know. I'm enjoying the pacing so far. It feels nice that it feels like we're getting enough time on stuff. Because, I don't know, maybe it's just because I've been thinking about, like, things like Has-Been Hotel, because I watched season 2 recently, because it just came out, when I'm recording this. I mean, it's been, like, it's not just come out, but it's, like, within a couple of months at the most. I don't know when exactly it was. But yeah, things that feel rushed. But, so this chapter sort of, like, leads into, like, this sort of fight with, I have no idea who this doofus is. They're sort of like a sand puddle person. I can't tell if they're made of water or what. They seem to have a creepy base, but I don't know if that's just because they're, like, being set up to be scary. I'm trying to see what I know about them. And yeah, we also got... Also, I've noticed something with, like, translated text, that sometimes you get certain phrases that get used more often than, like, I think natively. Like, old fart seems to be... Sorry, I sneeze. I've got my fan on because it's really hot, so I think that's what's causing it. But yeah, they seem to use the phrase old fart a lot, and I have noticed this in anime. It seems to get used a lot more often than I feel like the average English, like, I don't know, maybe it's more American, but I don't hear that phrase used a lot just in general. But I have noticed a lot of anime characters, typically, like, you're sort of, like, more rowdy, you know, like, I'm thinking, like, I think his name is Rin from Blue Exorcist, the main guy from Togen Anki, like that kind of character, that, you know, kind of like Naruto, but, like, a bit older and more delinquenty. But yeah, I just noticed that, like, with, like, Sakura is the one that really made me go, oh, okay, because, like, she's got that sort of inner Sakura, and I do like the inner Sakura dynamic. I feel like, yeah, it allows her to be a bit more interesting, like, she's interesting. Yeah, I like Inner Sakura. I feel like that's sort of her best thing, like, so best aspect of her so far, and I hope Inner Sakura stays, like, just because it helps give insight and stuff, and it's an effective way for her to sort of project one thing, but also, like, we get a sense that, you know, that's not how she truly feels. It's an effective way to communicate that. So yeah, I'm excited for, like, where this battle is gonna go. It feels like we're starting to actually get into stuff. Nothing particularly gay so far. Like, I'm excited about what I'm reading and stuff, but from, like, the queer analysis side of things, it's like, there hasn't been a lot on that front. Just in general. Oh, wait. Was it this? No, it is this chapter. Right. We're still talking about this chapter, sorry. A lot of stuff happens in each chapter. I do appreciate that. But I really like that these first panels, like, they're sort of being ninja-y, and it's actually difficult to see them at first. I really like this sense that you get, like, the feeling of them, they're hiding and being stealthy, because it requires you to actively look more than you do, like, when you're quickly breezing through, like, I feel like that's a really good thing in a ninja manga. Like, that they're able to sort of, hide and stuff. Like, for example, the first time I looked at this, like, first panel, I didn't even notice that there were people there. I just saw trees. So yeah, I really do like that. That is a neat drawing feature to have this sort of like to it helps to sort of be immersive and stuff that they're being sneaky and stuff. Like kind of like Where's Waldo? But when like that sort of like you have to actually actively look for them to see them. I hope we get to see more of this, like characters being hidden and stuff, because ninjas are stealthy. But yeah, I'm gonna start reading this next chapter, so like chapter 10. I'm excited for this just because we're getting into a fight and I'm like, ooh, this is against like an actual enemy, like with the full team. We've had some like little minor battles, but like we didn't have Sakura and Sasuke yet, so I'm like we didn't have the full gang. I'm curious about the full gang getting to fight. Okay, so that fight was hype for very different reasons to what I was expecting. I was expecting it to maybe be a longer battle, like possibly even a couple of chapters. But no, like the fight itself was pretty short. It was still pretty cool, but I feel like it's the things around the fight that's what made it so cool. Like, I'm like, dang, I like this series. I'm convinced, but so basically, they're being attacked. Sasuke sort of fights and stuff. He gets to be all cool, and jumps into battle, like his meet from the ambush, and even like Sakura participates. I feel like that Sakura doesn't get because Kashi's like, good job, Sasuke. And, like, Sakura doesn't get a mention. I don't know, maybe it's because Sasuke went, like, sort of above and beyond. Like, Sakura did participate, but, like, a little bit. I'm guessing that's possibly what's going on. Whereas, like, Naruto completely freezes. But I do find it funny that, like, Sakura's called useless all the time. But, like, here, Naruto was distinctly the useless one. Like, bro was unable to do anything and had to actively be protected. And yeah, and then, like, sort of afterwards, it's like, are you okay, you big chicken? I don't know, this scene's neat. Could I read into it? Yes, but, like, as much as I'm going for a quick reading, I want it to be earnest, where it's like, I'm not gonna stretch things here. If this series is as gay as people claim it is, I don't have to do stretching. But, like, I am definitely seeing seeds where it's already feeling like Sasuke is significant. Like, Sakura's already feeling like she's less important. But it makes sense because, like, you've got that sort of direct foil, I guess. Like, Sasuke is what Naruto is trying to aspire to be. Whereas Sakura doesn't really have that sort of same clear function. Yeah, I feel like that's also part of it. And also, Sasuke just gets to be cool. I don't know, maybe, like, Kishimoto just likes drawing him more. So, like, he, because he gets to do cool, angsty stuff. And, like, yeah, so then, like, Naruto got injured during the fight, and they're like, And then, like, there's an interesting sort of details of, like, sort of Kakashi showing, like, he's skilled, not just in, like, combat, but in understanding stuff. Like, this sort of thing where he's like, yeah, this is kind of weird, like, trying to suss out, who their actual target was, because, like, clearly this was not supposed to happen. Like, even for this slightly higher ranked mission, it's like, yeah, this is not something that if we had reason to think that this dude would be, like, ambushed by ninjas, we wouldn't have sent these children to do this. And then, like, I also, okay, so this next sort of thing, I feel like I also partially get why Sakura might get the short end of the stick and be hated. Because she suggests, like, it's like, hey, can we, like, go, Naruto is severely injured, can we, like, leave and go get a doctor? Which is a legitimately, like, that is a reasonable thing to ask. But I feel like she gets done dirty by the fact that Naruto has a very powerful moment immediately afterwards that, like, very much, like, thematically, like, it makes her suggestion just feel bad, like, thematically, like, sort of it's working against her. Even though her suggestion is very reasonable. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing for the character to want to, to suggest. But she does, I don't know. I feel like that this possibly is part of why, like, Sakura gets sort of the short end of the stick, is she doesn't get to do the cool Sasuke stuff. She doesn't get to do the emotional thing. She's sort of put in this position of, like, I guess she's, like, a sort of foil in like, what... I don't know how to fully articulate what's going on here, but I'm starting to see signs of, like, oh, okay, like, this is like, because, yeah, I was like, I feel like it makes Sakura seem annoying, even though she's doing something pretty reasonable. Like, it is a fair suggestion to be like, yeah, guys, we should probably go. Like, we are children. Like, you know, this is beyond our depths. This isn't something that we should even be involved in. And Naruto is severely injured. And also, this is her, like, again, progressing through, like, being nicer. Like, I don't think that it would be she would have to be very mean to specifically not care enough about, like, actual injury. Like, this is starting to get into actual serious territory beyond just, like, teasing and stuff. Like, I don't think that I don't get the impression that she's, like, particularly, like, malicious, that she wouldn't care if someone got severely injured. But then, like, just Naruto going ka-chunk. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show that. And yeah, like, just, I don't know, this scene just hit. This scene kind of hurt. Like, just this sense of, like, his desperation of, you know, feeling like he's behind. I don't know, maybe this hits because, like, I am unemployed. I'm 21, and I guess compared to where I thought my life would be, I do sometimes kind of feel like a loser. um, I know there's, like, reasons for it and stuff, but, you know, I went from being, like, the top, like, a top student, you know, like, the kind of person that, like, the people like, yeah, you've got so much potential and stuff. You know how, like, people would be like, oh, yeah, you could be, like, prime minister. We don't have presidents here in Australia. And stuff, like, not based on, like, personality and stuff, but just, like, as a sign of being, like, yeah, you, like, we expect great things from you. You can change the world kind of stuff. And now it's like, yeah, I can't even get a job, like, at McDonald's. Like, yeah, just... and stuff. So I feel like this sort of, like, frustration of, like, you know, like, he's like, by now I should be really strong. So, like, the sense of, like, you know, by now I should be at this spot. And, like, that, you know, even every, you know, and this idea that he's, like, you know, he's trying really hard. And, like, that frustration and stuff. And, you know, feeling like, you know, not fitting and feeling behind. Like, I feel like that's also, like, I'm in a very different situation to Naruto. Like, naturally. But... yeah, I feel like it's this sort of powerful thing that anyone can kind of relate to. This sense of inadequacy, and, like, yeah, he's like, yeah. So and then I feel like Sasuke's purpose here is also to personify it, like, because, yeah, it's like, and I'm not gonna be outdone by Sasuke, which, and, like, so that, yeah, there's very much sense that, like, having that constant reminder there of your inadequacy, like, I feel like, you know, makes it a bit more intimate, it makes it a bit more tangible, like, and that's possibly, like, I guess part of why Sasuke is a lot more important so far than Sakura, because he's serving this purpose to further Naruto. Yeah. And yeah, he promises and stuff, but also just, like, Naruto, are you okay? Like, I don't know, maybe this is just because, like, having had mental health struggles, I'm like, that is concerning that you just did that, Naruto. But, like, I'm not gonna deny that it's a very impactful scene. Like, yeah, just that chapter had a lot. Like, again, I feel like that he is very, like, the creator is very efficient in getting stuff happening and things. Like, I don't know, I feel like that I'm kind of a slow rambler person. I know, shocking. This video is probably gonna be super long. But yeah, just there's so much just good stuff. Not necessarily stuff for the intended focus of this series, but I'm just legitimately enjoying the story for what it is. Again, like, that there are things, but it's still very much, like, if I'm being fair, it still very much feels like it's in this sort of rival territory. Like, but these characters don't know each other particularly well either. Like, I feel like that I'm not expecting it to start getting implications and stuff until they've known each other a bit longer, and I don't know. I mean, there are some interesting things, like, especially, like, the more I think about the Naruto's Ninja Centerfold, which hasn't made an appearance, I've just realized, for a bit, but we have had more serious chapters, so it doesn't surprise me. I feel like that maybe we'll get it again in a more gag-centered, sort of, like, lighthearted comedic moment, but also, like, why did Bro spend so much effort to look like a beautiful lady? Like, especially because he's not the one that, like, because, I mean, if you're reading it, like, you're sort of, like, looking at it, from an external perspective. So it's like, oh, pretty lady. Like, you can understand why it's in there for the purpose of the audience. But, like, Naruto as a character, like, how does he benefit? Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else in the series that's like that, but I'm like, that's, and it'd be funny if this goes from like, yeah, no, Naruto and Sasuke aren't gay because Naruto is trans. Bro, that would, I don't expect it's gonna go down there, but that would be hilarious. Just saying. It's like, yeah, Naruto is straight, but not the way you think. You can tell that it's definitely too late at night to be doing this, but that's okay. I am excited to read this next chapter. Like, this has been good. Like, I know I've read this before, but I don't remember it super well, so I'm just, like, I don't know. I feel like because there's so many things that are derivative of Naruto that are pretty, like, like, a lot of this sort of, like, shonen-y trope things tend to annoy me because they feel, like, formulaic. I feel like I've seen it before, but somehow, I don't know what Naruto is doing that makes, makes it feel fresh. I know it was, like, it came out before a lot of the things I've seen, but, like, it still shouldn't feel as fresh from my perspective. So I don't know, maybe it's just legitimately good. It's doing something right. Okay, so that chapter wasn't quite as hype as the last one, but that makes sense. Like, the last one hit hard, and also this feels like a build-up chapter, I guess. Like, you sort of, I mean, all of them sort of have like something to end on to keep you going, but yeah, it definitely feels like there's sort of like these more build-up, world-building chapters, and then you get a chapter of just, like, payoff and stuff. But we get to learn a bit that, like, Naruto's got, like, extra healing powers, which, I mean, that's good for him. I feel like the implication is that, like, he doesn't, I don't think he's aware of this. I mean, this makes me question, like, how, like, he's obviously been injured before, like, no 12-year-old, I need to learn how old these characters actually are. But, like, he's old enough that he's definitely been injured at some point, but I don't know, I get the impression that he's just not aware that, you know, he has this extra healing and stuff. I do like the sort of mist thing. Part of me is also like, it'd be funny if the creator went with that because they were too lazy. It's like, I'm not motivated this week, we're just not gonna draw backgrounds. And then there's also just this billionaire dude that's like a businessman transporter dude that's like just the richest man in the world. Like, where it's like, yes, Naruto is like escorting a dude who is wanted by Elon Musk. Like, I'm just like, I don't remember this dude at all, and I know enough about sort of like the villains that get talked about a lot. I'm like, I'm guessing this guy isn't that big, but it just feels like a wild thing that I'm like, we're just, okay? I don't know, it just feels weird. And I really like this panel where it's like, Naruto is doing his best to keep up. Like, I don't know, I just like Naruto that's just being this little idiot. I also like that Kakashi kind of has this sort of dad vibes, like, so this is, you know, they get to the thing, and, like, Naruto, I mean, he just sort of he's had his ego bruised because we just had, like, the fight where, you know, he froze and stuff, and he's very determined. He's like, I'm not gonna look bad and stuff, and then he just, like, throws a shuriken, like, pretending that he saw something, and then, like, then Kakashi's like, please don't play around with your shurikens, they can be teensy bit dangerous. Bro just has this dad vibes, and he's just, like, you know, parenting these kids as if, like, stuff. But it is cool, like, when he goes from that and then, like, switches and things. And, like, this chapter is definitely setting up for, like, getting to see Kakashi go do cool stuff. And again, we get to see more stuff of, like, Kakashi making these deductions and things. You know, being like, this is suspicious and weird, like, there's something off. But yeah, I'm cool. I'm curious to see, like, Kakashi and, you know, get to do stuff. Especially because, you know, he's been hyped up a lot so far, and he hasn't just needed to go all out in any sort of way. Like, it just very much felt like that he has been going at, like, I don't know, half skills, if that. So yeah, definitely, this is definitely more of, like, a setup chapter, but it's still got some cool stuff. And yeah, they're definitely expanding more on this, like, rivalry being rivalry. But it still just feels like a rivalry at this point, I'm gonna be honest. Like, yeah, it doesn't feel like there's much more to it. I'm going to guess that, I don't know. I mean, maybe the longer your rivals, the more you're like, this feels a bit obsessive. Because, like, I mean, I had, like, kids at school that I guess I competed with for grades and stuff, but I wasn't thinking about them constantly. Like, if we weren't actually, like, actively doing stuff in class, I wasn't really thinking about them. But they're actively on a mission. And he just got humbled. So it makes sense. Um, like, yeah. Still not feeling particularly gay or anything, but I'm just enjoying it. Yeah. I feel like I don't know, I don't feel like I appreciated Naruto this much. Like, I know I enjoyed it. Like, for me to have read the whole thing, I, like, had to have liked it. But I don't remember enjoying it this much. I'm definitely enjoying it more, I think. I don't know, maybe I just don't remember. Okay, again, this is another payoff chapter. Like, this is actually, it feels like it's doing both. This one definitely feels the most awkward to stop here, at the end of the chapter, because, like, it flows on so nicely that, like, it took me a second to realize I'd even started the next chapter, because most of them, like, have sort of, like, a buffer page, so it's pretty obvious when the chapters sort of start, but this, like, flows on to the next page, which makes me wonder, like, why it's different. I'm not sure exactly. But yeah, like, we get to see sort of Kakashi, I guess we will get, like, info dump about, like, what his thingamajig is. So yeah, and it's like this guy's like, yes, you must be Kakashi with the thingamajig, and, like, I'm calling it the thingamajig, I don't care. And then, like, Sasuke's like, the thingamajig? The thingamajig? And then we get to see his cool eyeball thing. Eyeball powers are objectively cool. I'm sorry. And then, you know, we get a bit, like, of an explanation of what stuff is, like, because Naruto's like, what is this? And Sasuke explains. But I like how they sort of elaborate, like, as to why Sasuke specifically knows this. Like, he seems to be generally a bit more knowledgeable about things, but, like, actually, I don't know how much, like, I know a bit about, like, the, Uchiha. How am I meant to say it? I just realized I have no idea how to say it. Uchiha? I don't know how you say it. I'm Uchiha? Uchiha. I think that, how, I have no idea how you actually say the name of his clan. Like, you know, sometimes, like, when you read words, and, like, your brain just doesn't actually, like, make up a sound for the word, you just kind of know it in a different way. Anyway, like, so, like, I guess he's starting to suspect that maybe, like, Kakashi's related to him in some sort of way. Because I know that, like, Sasuke's part of the, and, like, I know that his clan's dead. I don't know if that's been established in the story, or if I just know this from general knowledge of Naruto. I don't remember, like, if that's actually been stated yet, that all of his family is dead. But, you know, like, I guess it's significant if he suspects that he has, like, some sort of relative, because I think, like, basically his family is supposed to no longer be here. But I also do really like this chapter specifically for, like, my favorite part is, like, where Sasuke is starting to freak out, especially because we just a couple of chapters ago had Naruto freaking out, and Sasuke, like, again, I feel like that there's this nice delicate balancing they're doing, like, where they're putting sort of Sasuke on this pedestal and then bringing him back down, reminding us that he is also still a child, he is still new to this, you know. I don't know, it's just I'm really enjoying this sort of, like, I think I'm particularly liking the moments where we sort of, like, are humanizing Sasuke and stuff, because I feel like that he doesn't also fully, I don't know, treat himself, it's just good, like, this sort of, like, this dichotomy that they're setting up, like, between, I guess, the Sasuke that, like, he projects, you know, that Naruto sees, that, like, you know, this cool guy, but, like, he is a child. But yeah, like, just the way that he's freaking out, and just, I don't know, the expressions just really work for me. But then, like, Kakashi gives dad vibes. I'm really liking the way that he's sort of, you know, the dad vibes he's projecting, and like you get this sort of sense of safety from him because he is like being hyped up as very powerful. We like you feel it, like you feel the sense that like Kakashi can protect them, that for Kakashi not to be able to protect them, something has to go severely wrong. But yeah, like I feel like it's having that sort of foil and stuff. Like we saw like Naruto like freaking out, and like this also, like we didn't really get to experience Naruto's freaking out. Like when Naruto froze, we didn't get to hear his internal dialogue. Whereas here we do, like with Sasuke's, like, and also just as someone that like has frozen and stuff, and like the frustration of like how active your brain is compared to your actions, like yeah, you're not doing anything, but like physically, but there's so much mentally going on, and I feel like that this just portrays that freeze response really well, and I just appreciate it, like from Sasuke particularly, just like in the context and stuff, like, and it also helps to establish that this scenario is serious. Like we just had a previous scenario where Sasuke was able to stay completely cool and calm, and now he is freaking out. So we know that the stakes are higher, because, like, for Sasuke to start freaking out, things have to be pretty bad. And again, everyone is blushing. Like, just everyone all the time. Bro just likes to draw characters blushing. So I feel like using blushing to tell specifically how characters feel and stuff does not seem to be a particularly, like, if you're trying to use blush to specifically say, oh, these characters have romantic stuff, so far that seems to just not be, like, this guy, there is so much more blushing than normal. Yeah, and then fighting and stuff, just, I don't know, I particularly like that Sasuke thing. I feel like Sasuke is definitely gearing up to being my favorite. I feel like wait, where does this chapter go to? I'm just double checking if this, okay, there. And yeah, also, like, there's this sense, like, everyone's, like, whoa, bro's so cool. So, yeah, there's some good stuff here. And, yeah, I'm curious to, I want to, I don't know, maybe because I'm older than these characters, like, Sasuke isn't gonna seem, like, overly cool and stuff to me, because, he's small. He's a baby. I don't know exactly how old these characters are, but still, like, I feel like treating, I don't know, it's just nice. Actually, we get this sort of sense, like, with all of them, like, we get a bit of their internal lives, like, we get that sort of inner Sakura, we're getting a bit of insight into, like, all of their thoughts, which is nice, like, that gives us a bit more of a sense, and especially because, like, they're all trying to project something specific, like, so it is kind of necessary to fully get these characters to see the difference between who they are internally and what they're trying to project in these moments. So yeah, I'm gonna continue reading because this fight is cool. Yeah, okay, Naruto. This is just me glazing Naruto, isn't it? Dang it. This is just me being like, Naruto is good. I really hope that it keeps this up. Yeah, dang. No wonder this was part of, like, I'm starting to be like, okay, there's a reason why Naruto is so beloved and stuff. Like, it's doing things right. I definitely think I need to, like, analyze this further, just to figure out, like, what it's doing that's making this so satisfying. Again, I like this chapter. So yeah, we're continuing some of this fight. Stakes are definitely getting bigger. Like, definitely the biggest stakes we've had so far. Like, Kakashi's, like, the fact that we're sort of like, oh, is Kakashi out of his depth here? Like, that's also, like, being like, oh, things are getting scary. And, like, everyone is freaking out. Like, that, they're gonna have to run away. And, like, they are, like, specifically commanded, hey, get out of here, children. You are going to die. And, like, that, if you just run, you will be, like, fine, basically, because the guy is occupied with keeping, like, Kakashi in, like, a bubble, and he can't, like, have his clone jutsus to go too far away. I feel like they're also really good at utilizing this clone jutsu thing. Like, I keep forgetting that this is, like, sort of amazing, but characters very much will be like, haha, you thought that was me? I'm actually over here. Now I'm just picturing like a Death Note, but like with clone jutsus. I knew. It's like, I knew you were gonna do that, so I made my clone jutsu over here. But I knew you were gonna do that. um, and like, yeah, Naruto's like running off, like, because he's had his headband stolen, which, his headband is like, very important. Like, that's been sort of established as a big milestone for him. And yeah, he's about to run away, but like he injures his hand, that hand that he just like made that vow. And like then we get like this sort of flashback, and I know that like Naruto kind of gets memed on for like the flashback. I'm not seeing the I think it gets memed on for like there's like a swing set or something, but like it's definitely impactful, especially because it feels like we're getting this build up of everything we've had so far, and he's like I don't know, it might be corny and stuff, but like it works. I don't know what else to say. And yeah, like, there's definitely this sense of, that, like, Naruto's particular brand of, like, heroism is definitely deeply rooted in the fact that he's an idiot. I feel like that Naruto not being an idiot would not work. That he's willing to sort of do these things. And, like, Sakura is definitely sort of being this voice of reason. Actually, she kind of reminds me of Piggy from Lord of the Flies. I know that's a weird comparison to make, but she's sort of like the straight man, I guess, of the group. She's sort of the reasonable one, which makes her less likable, because she just doesn't get, like, Sasuke's the cool one, Naruto is, like, got the cool emotional stuff, and, like, Sakura, I guess, gets to be the, like, what's the stick in the mud, I guess. But, like, it's a role that does make sense, like, Naruto is being incredibly reckless, and having someone actively being like, dude, what are you doing? I think it's just that it, like, because there's so much, like, that it's, I feel like that if there was worse at getting you to buy into Naruto's sort of heroism and stuff, it would make Sakura more likable. Like, I feel like it's too effective with Naruto, which makes sense, it's his series. But yeah, because I'm like, I probably should like the one that's, like, logical and stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm just in that hype mode. Maybe Bro's reminding me of the Power of Friendship speeches and my best boy Sora. And like, yeah. I also, Sasuke needs a hug. I'm sorry. Yeah, and then we're sort of getting, like, this cool build-up. He's like, yes. Like, he puts his thing on, and I feel like, I also really like this panel, like, how messy his hair is without the headband, and he puts it on, he's got, like, the blood on his mouth. And then he's just, like, declares himself. It also feels like that, almost like this sort of declaring that I'm gonna be the, like, okay. Like, it feels like that because, he's kind of been treated like garbage. Like, it's almost like a mantra to himself, like, to feign this sort of confidence to get through stuff, because, like, it must get to you if everyone in this, like, in your town treats you like garbage just for existing, and, like, you don't know why. Because, like, they're treating... Honestly, they're lucky that Naruto, like, because... Isn't he, like... They hate him because of the demon inside him and stuff, but, like, they are lucky that didn't backfire. I feel like if you've got this child that, like, has this demon inside that you're worried about, like, getting loose and, like, I don't know, him going wild, maybe treat him nicely. But, he's starting to go plan, and I feel like that, especially after last chapter, where, like, we had sort of, like, Sasuke get, like, humbled, and then this chapter we sort of get, like, Naruto rising up. So I feel like that for the rivalry has this sort of tension, like, of, like, moving between. It's not purely just, like, Sasuke always being ahead, which I feel like is quite common in some of these, where, especially at this stage in the story, like, the gap just feels insurmountable. But I do like this sort of, like, almost, like, it's definitely tipped in Sasuke's favor, but it doesn't feel as sort of grand. Like, it's not like... I'm trying to think what other sort of rivalries. Like, you feel like My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia feels quite different in its Bakugo-Deku dynamic. To be honest. I feel like if possibly part of that is just that Bakugo's a bully. I feel like that adds quite a different sort of feel to it. Like, and... yeah, like, even though, like, I know that My Hero Academia and Naruto do have a lot of similarities and get paired, I feel like there's just something that makes Bakugo and Deku feel very, like, feels fundamentally differently in a way I can't quite articulate here. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering stuff, but there's just, I don't know how to fully express how I feel about things, because, I just read it, but yeah, I like how there's sort of, like, there's, like, this sort of shift, like, in things, like, in, like, the gap sort of gets, like, bigger and smaller and stuff, like, there's that sort of tension. I feel like this is a good way for a rivalry. It's also, honestly, possibly part of how, like, sometimes, like, sports anime have a better sense for, like, stakes, because the characters can fail. Like, if it's something like a sports, or, like, I don't know, like, just, like, in a battle sort of series, like, you know that the main character has to kind of win the fight. Because if they don't, they're dead. Like, so that does lower some of the tension and stuff, whereas, so I feel like with rivalries, for example, if there's too big of a gap between your characters, you don't have that same degree of tension because you know just who the winner is. But whereas some of these, I guess, like, the joy comes from sort of this long stride achieving, whereas it feels like this is more like we're in that closer sort of tension sooner. So yeah, and then there's also, like, the thing of, like, Naruto, it's like, I feel strange. This is so, Naruto is so, like, and she's blushing. I'm guessing we're probably supposed to take that as romantic. I don't know, but, like, I'm also, like, Sakura knows what a crush feels like. Like, that's one of her defining characteristics. Like, I've never had a crush, so I don't know how easy to identify it is. Like, is it obvious when you start feeling those kind of things? Like, if you've had a crush before, do you immediately know that that's what that is? I don't know if this is just my personal issues. Like, I'm like, are we supposed, like, is she, like, is this but she's felt admiration before. Like, I'm confused what exactly we're supposed to be inferring that she feels. Like, I feel like romance stuff feels, like, because it's not just the blushing, it's also just the, like, the way that she's staring directly, like, that's the expression she's making. I don't know, maybe the next chapter will make things clear. I also think I'm getting towards the end of this volume, which I'm like, oh no, no. But yeah, like, not a lot in terms of the actual sort of intended function of the series, but in terms of my just general enjoyment, I'm gonna say go read Naruto. I know that, like, Shonen Jump has a couple of different apps that you can probably read it on. You can buy, go read Naruto. um, yeah, that's probably not really a hot take. It's like, wow, you're suggesting one of the most well-known series, but still. Yeah, okay, let's keep reading. I don't think I have much more to say for this chapter, but I'm also just, I think I'm just, like, getting into the hype of it, so it's distracting me from analysis. I'm like, I just want to keep reading. Okay, again. Yeah, it's good. Sorry, it's like mid-fight was this chapter, so my brain's just in the hype, and I'm like, bro, it's frying my analysis. I'm enjoying it too much. Yeah, we get to see the characters get, like, the cool plan and stuff. We get to learn more about this evil dude who's ultra evil, and, like, as a child just massacred everyone. Like, that's pretty evil. But they had, like, apparently this culture had some sort of, like, thing where they, like, did fights to the death, like, between, like, I guess, like, it got partnered off, like, a duel to the death, but this kid just was, like, killed, like, hundreds of other kids. I'm slightly concerned about this guy's mental health. And then he does, like, this face that kind of reminds me of Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. And then, like, especially because of, like, the reaction of Sasuke and Naruto, where they're just, like, freaking out, like, they just see this guy's creepy face, and then they're just like, ew, he's eerie. And then, yeah, we get, like, the sort of the doppelgangers. I also feel like that the fights at the moment, like, there's definitely a lot of, like, going, hi, yeah, but there's also a lot of, like, being like, huh? The misdirection and sort of, like, this, like, yes, this was, it's like, like, it has a similar to feeling to, like, the sort of, like, the Death Note being like, yes, this was this is the plan, and then, like, I foiled this plan, but then I had this backup plan, like, which is not what like, it feels interesting just given, like, the kind of, I don't know, it's just not what I remember from, and like often think of in some of these things. Like I feel like the fights feel smarter than like normal, and like they're also very snappy. Like combat feels fast, which fights actually are usually pretty quick. um like especially for a show that's known for like just unnecessary drawn out talking. So I'm wondering if like this gets worse over time. But like so far, yeah, like there doesn't seem to be too much time spent explaining stuff. Like, and yeah, like they throw like the shuriken, and it's like, ah, yes, you're an amateur, I caught it, and then it's like, oh, there's another shuriken, ah, I dodged it, and then but like then it's like, ha, we had like steps of plans, which like especially like for Naruto, like that's pretty impressive. Like he's kind of a doofus. And also, I don't know, the way that Sasuke's, like, smiling and, like, respect, bro. Like, yeah, I don't know, they get to be cool together. It would be nice if Sakura got to join in this fight, especially because, like, I don't know, it'd help them sort of feel like a trio. I think this is sometimes the difficulty of, I think it's much easier to possibly write duos. Maybe that's what happens, is, like, we like trios, but, like, I don't know, it could also just be misogyny and stuff that, like, affects these kind of things, but, like, and also, like, I guess Sakura is yeah, I don't know, I'm just thinking that, like, it is quite common that, like, it feels like the duos and stuff, like, I'm trying to think if there's any specifically, like, trios that I'm, like, they needed to be a trio to really work. Like, I don't think I think, like, having a trio of friends does make... Okay, I'm overthinking, and I feel like this is a different discussion that requires other analysis and stuff. Like, Sakura, like, I guess gets to be sort of, like, the empathetic one. And she gets a bit of focus there. I don't know, I feel kind of bad for Sakura. She gets to do the Brock role of being like, oh my gosh, this is what happened. But now, and so, like, we're left on this cliffhanger of, like, Naruto's about to do something, and I want to know what Naruto's about to do, to be honest. Like, I feel like there's definitely sort of a shifting, like, Sasuke is starting to respect Naruto a bit more, which is, I feel like, maybe the beginning. I guess that's gayer than hating each other. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's but yeah, I do like sort of these, like, sort of smirks. I feel like also just because, like, I feel like smirking is probably associated with, like, flirtation and stuff, isn't it? Like, that sort of, like, thing. So maybe the fact that Sasuke just smirks all the time isn't helping him, because, like, he's just, that's just how he smiles. I don't know, maybe do we ever get to, I'm curious if we ever get to see him, like, have an earnest sort of smile that doesn't have this sort of smugness to it. But I don't know, he seems to be a smug boy when he's not being traumatized and angsty. But yeah, I need to know what happens next. Okay. I'm not sure I fully processed what happened in this chapter. I think it's like nearly around 2 a.m., so maybe that's part of why. Maybe this was a bad idea. But again, like, I know it's probably a weird comparison, but I vaguely remember watching, like, years ago, an analysis video, so, like, the way the Death Note has... Because, like, most of the time in something... Okay, actually, it's a principle of, like, heist movies. So, in a heist movie, for example, if you explain the plan first, the plan has to go wrong. If you don't explain, like, or you can have it where sort of, like, if things go right, you explain it sort of, like, during or after. So this feels like sort of that similar kind of thing. You have, like, this cool plan, and then, like, the audience is like, oh, well, like, how did that work? And then you explain it afterwards, which is what we sort of have here. Like, he does the plan, and then we have, like, this little mini explanation of how it all happened. And then, like, Kakashi gets out of the bubble. So, like, the plan wasn't to defeat the dude. It was just basically to get Kakashi back in the fight. And then we have, like, this sort of, like, he copies and, like, doing lots of hand symbols. I don't know how to do the hand jutsu stuff. I know that is a thing. And, like, some of these cool dragons, which look really cool. I mean, dragons look cool to begin with, but, like, all this, like, water splashing and stuff. And again, you've got sort of, like, I keep calling it, like, brocking, but I don't know what the actual term is. Basically, it's just, like, exposition and stuff, and, like, characters reaffirming, like, so it's, like, Sasuke's like, whoa, that was, like, super impressive, so that you know that it was super duper impressive. Which again, like, establishing certain characters as sort of authorities on these things helps to, you know, like, if Sasuke is saying something's impressive, bro means it. I also like the evil dude's big Buster Sword looking thing. Yeah, like, Kakashi's mocking his gestures, and again, we're getting this sort of sense of, like, when Kakashi's in the battle, he is, like, I guess because he's sort of got, like, kind of taken off guard and put in the bubble, but now, like, that he's back in the fight, it's like, yeah, no, dude is powerful. Like, he's now able to sort of go and do stuff, and we almost get the sense of, like the sort of enemy, we don't fully understand, like, what his ability is. It's like, is he, like, reading his mind? Is he predicting the future? Like, he's, like, yeah, I feel like they're adding this sort of mysticism, like, it's kind of reminds me of, Jack Sparrow. I know this is dumb. I keep making the most random comparisons for things. But, like, you sort of get this, like, sort of sense of, like, mythology around the character. Like, you have sort of the character's theories and stories, and instead of, like, directly telling the audience factually by having things come through the characters and, like, having the sense of doubt, like, you get to, like, make sort of theories and stuff, and you get the sense of, like, you know, these are, like, this dude's being, like, it's the biggest threat we've had so far, and he's, like, and he's confused and stuff, and also, like, as a kid, he massacred, like, hundreds of other kids, so, like, we get the sense that this guy's strong, and he's like, what is he doing? How is he doing this super powerful stuff? And also just, like, the scope of, like, the fact that this guy is very good at drawing, like, little people's, like, tiny little illustrations of dudes helps with, like, the scope of these big attacks. That just, like, take up, you know, the entire page sort of thing. And yeah, like, he gets to sort of do cool things like, I foresee your death. And then we get these random people that are like, your prediction came true. I'm like, who are you people? Which I guess maybe we'll find out next chapter. Wait, okay. So, there's just, like, a little author's note about Makeup Paradise. Is 3-volume series that it's favored during the plot involved, and then it's blanked out. Even though Naruto is recommended 13 and up, it is not quite adult enough to explain the story. It's like, what Kakashi is reading is not... But I will say that if Kakashi gets his wish, Makeup Paradise Volume 1 may yet be published in English. Was that initially, like, that note seems weird for it to initially say, like, be published in English, because, like, if this is for a Japanese audience, why would they be excited for that? Like, have they changed that? Or did that initially say, hey, it might be published in, like, Japanese? Because, like, actually, I get the... Did the Ninja Village people... Wait, hold up. Let me look at, like, the... Like, that looks like legitimate kanji. See, I was under the impression that these guys just spoke Japanese. So this translation, like, I don't know how much of this is, like, translation, or if it legitimately was like, yeah, it might be in English, but I'm like, why would they care? Like, yeah, I'm slightly confused by that. Like, I was under this, because, like, sometimes, like, in fantasy stories, I'm like, yeah, they're speaking some sort of, like, their language, not an actual real-world equivalent. But, like, I don't know, I just thought that these guys were speaking Japanese. So I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this. I'm curious if that is a translation-y thing. But, yeah. Kakashi's just reading smart. Would Kakashi be, like, into that sort of dark romantasy? Like, would he be a book talk girly? Kakashi is now a book talk girly. I'm sorry, that's now canon to me. Okay, so this chapter has some interesting things. The first thing that's, like, sort of interesting is the, like, way that this sort of makes the world feel bigger, because there's this, like, sense, like, when Naruto's like, dude, like, we were just saved by this super OP little kid that's, like, our age, and Kakashi basically just says, yeah, you're gonna come across people that are stronger than me and younger than you. Which also feeds into this sort of theme, like, that we had earlier of, like, Naruto sort of feeling, like, you know, he should be at this spot now, like, inadequacy, so, like, these sort of, like, I guess, prodigies. And it also expands, like, this sort of, like, you get thinking about, like, what is the scope of power? Like, Kakashi already seems pretty OP, like, how powerful can people be? And it also makes, like, sort of Naruto and, like, them feel smaller, like, yeah, like the world feels bigger because we sort of have like this expansion and also the shrinking of the main characters. Like, so yeah, I feel like that's good to just get you sort of invest in the sense of it you get the sense that this world is expansive beyond like our main peoples. Um and yeah, like I mean it makes sense for Naruto to crash out because like he's also just processing probably the fact that he's like, geez, this like a lot has happened in quite a small time frame. And I also like how like Sasuke's got this sort of reaction because Sasuke probably thinks of himself as quite powerful, and like I feel like Sasuke's starting to realize that yeah, maybe he's just not all that. Which I guess like if his plan is like to revenge and his plan is to do revenge, yeah, maybe like realizing he's sort of not being as strong as he thought he was, like because I'm guessing that like the I forgot what his brother's name is, the one that he wants to kill. I'm guessing that he's supposed to be pretty powerful and stuff, so like that's probably a bit of a wake up call. My only complaint so far is it does feel like there's a lot of characters, and it can be kind of difficult to keep track of. Like I'm bad at character names, but it can be also just difficult to keep track of like who's who at times. And like sometimes people will pop up, and I'm like, wait, have I met you or not? I don't know if that's yeah, like maybe that's just a skill issue on my end, but like it just does feel like that there's quite a lot of characters at play, which like is part of making the world feel bigger. But it also like I don't know, maybe it's just that I'm getting the sense of like oh like how much like how well do I need to remember all these characters? Are they gonna like just randomly pop up and I need to keep track? And then like we've got this sort of like thing like the person that helped him out um is working with the evil dude, and like the evil dude's not dead like we thought. And then we've got this guy who who's quite androgynous in appearance, who's like helping him out, and was like there's also something about from what we've learned about this. I think they're like the Wind Tribe or something clan, the Wind Gang. They seem to be pretty mean, like and messed up. Like they take bodies and like dismember them and stuff. They kill each other in part of their exams. Like I'm glad that our boys live, that our main characters live in the Leaf Village. It sounds like I would hate to live in this Wind Tribe. They clan I think is Wind Gang. They just seem to be like so much more brutal, and I think that we've only got one more chapter left of this volume. We're definitely close to the end, so yeah. Honestly, I think I'm just getting into the actual sort of like story and stuff. I feel like they were getting a bit more budding between like I don't know, that chapter didn't have a lot of like Sasuke and Naruto's dynamic, but we also had like we had a new character that's sort of getting a bit more like introduced and stuff, that has like a cool funky mask. Their design's cool, with funky haircut. And like the arts, I like the art style as well. Yeah, so I'm curious like what sort of cliffhanger we're gonna get left on in this last sort of chapter. Like, are we going to go straight back into battle with this evil doofus? Like, is that where we're gonna end? That's my prediction. Is that like so we had this sense of like oh this battle's being resolved, but this like new player has come in and stuff, and like and we know that Kakashi's kind of weak and stuff, and especially because like we sort of ended like where like Kakashi's like get the feeling that they're overlooking something big. So yeah, I feel like that maybe that's where we're heading. Is maybe this is like an arc. Is this like a first arc villain? I forgot what the doofus's name is. I need to write characters' names down or something. But like evil bandage dude with the big sword. So yeah, I'm curious like where we're gonna end up in terms of like the actual intended function of this series, which feels like I'm hoping that with that I get more to analyze from that lens. But I mean, even if I don't, I'm enjoying I'm just enjoying Naruto. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. That volume did not end where I thought it would. Like in terms of, because usually I would say that you aim for like I guess like you would aim for like the end of your volume to have your big emotional moments, although there is also I guess the cancellation thing. So wait, hold up. What chapter had the sort of big emotional stuff? was that around trying to avoid cancellation? That could also be influencing, but it sort of ended on this like sense that like we're gonna go into a training arc. Not that that's not interesting, but I just find it an interesting choice to like for where things. But also I don't know if like how much that they sort of like planning out based on volumes and stuff. Like maybe it was more just based on like it just yeah, maybe it wasn't specifically because you know it was serialized in a magazine first. That maybe that's why it feels like an odd spot for the volume to specifically end. Like it's something that they would be aware of, but if that's just not where it makes sense to end the story. But we get like introduced, I guess, to lots of like power system stuff. We get this kid that like is I think was his name? It's been a while since I've read My Hero Academia. I think his name was Koda, the kid that punched Deku in the balls. This kid is very much coded like him. Like Naruto's being like, "I'm gonna be like a hero and save you," and the kid's like, "There's no such thing as heroes." He doesn't punch Naruto. Naruto gets off a little bit better on that front. But yeah, like this. So I get this sense of like we're gonna get like a power up arc. You know, we're gonna get stronger because they suspect that the dude is alive. Because they're like, wait a second, the clan thing, like they would start chopping up the body immediately. Basically, he didn't do that. That's kind of sus. It's like he's probably like acupunctured and still alive. So yeah, they basically we're gonna go into like a training arc things. And there's like specifically mentions that like Naruto is excited the guy didn't die, so I guess maybe he wants to fight him or something. I don't know. Maybe my brain is a bit dead. And then we get so there's like this inner Sakura, but again, like Sakura gets to serve sort of as like the reasonable one, to be honest. Where she's like, yeah, maybe instead, like, cause like she is asking legitimately, like, given the difference between them, like, what good is a little bit of training gonna do, especially because, I mean, they don't immediately know that, like, it's like, well, like, what if they can come back at any time? We do get a sense that, yeah, there's a little bit of time that they have. I don't know what their communication methods are. I'm guessing maybe I mean, it's from 1999, so they probably don't have, like, touchscreen mobile phones and stuff, but, like, do they not have some way to communicate and, like, call in some ninjas that are already competent? But I guess also this is a good, like, sort of teaching thing for, like, Kakashi. She's like, cool, we can speed run the course and stuff, and I guess if they're already there, like, I don't know how many excess ninjas they have, especially, like, the, I feel like the higher up you get, you probably have less of them to work with. And yeah, we get the sense that, like, Naruto is supposed to already know how this chakra system works. But, like, him being an idiot is helpful. Because, like, he, you know, it gives an excuse so that we can have stuff explained to us, the audience, as well. Because, so yeah, it's like, yeah, you're supposed to already know this stuff, yeah, Kakashi's like, yeah, you guys all kind of suck. And it's like, we climb trees. I mean, I feel like the fact that it's so innocuous, is that... I need to go to bed. The fact that it's something seemingly so mundane, I'm gonna use that. I know that's at least the right word. Almost helps in it being intriguing. Like, I feel like the fact that you're expecting him to be like, the way that we train is like by some super cool thing. So the fact that he says like this, just trees, like, I feel like that almost adds more intrigue. So like, I think it's that like subversion. Like, you're expecting it to be something that should be, you know, bigger than it is. So yeah, I feel like that actually works. I would say that, like, last volume probably had a stronger last chapter thing. And again, I'm gonna say that, like, this volume isn't particularly gay. Like, I'm curious when things start getting gay. But, like, cause I was also talking to a friend about, like, the fact that I was thinking of, like, doing this sort of the series, and because I said that, like, I'd heard that it's gay, and their instant response is, like, yeah, it's very gay. So, like, I know enough about this sort of stuff, and, like, a lot of, you know, shonen in general that have clearly taken deep inspiration from it. But yeah, I can't say that it seems particularly... I mean, also the fact that they are, like, there's so much else going on, and, like, these characters, again, don't know each other super well, and we also don't know the characters super well. We've got enough of a sense of, like, their basics, but not, like, they haven't really had, like, necessarily a lot of character arcs. We do get the sense of Naruto, like, there's the sense of Naruto has matured, and I would agree. Naruto has matured. We have also, this volume had significantly less of that crude humor that the first volume had that I didn't like. That's possibly part of why it's starting to get into, like, the sense of, like, yes. And I don't think there was any weird misogynistic rants. So the things that I had issue with in the first volume weren't here. Which I think is part of why I'm really getting into it. I'm like, yes, more of this, please. The stuff that I didn't like, I mean, I'm still slightly concerned about Sakura getting sort of left behind, but also, like, we're still in early in things, and, like, you know, you can only develop so many characters at once. Like, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be that concerned if I didn't sort of know, like, enough about, like, the conversations about the series, and just also how women in shonen get treated. Like, in general, like, a lot of female characters just don't get treated great, and, like, it's pretty common for them to have potential that just doesn't get utilized. But also, like, I know that Naruto has a large cast. There's a lot of characters that probably just don't get particularly utilized. Like, Sasuke and Naruto are clearly your main dudes. Like she's third-wheeling narratively, which isn't uncommon. I mean, I would say, like, My Hero Academia has a similar thing, but honestly, like, the trio that I thought was the main trio of, like, Ida, Ochako, and Deku, like, Ochako and Ida kind of get both sidelined in favor of, like, Bakugo, and then, like, Todoroki is probably more so, like, I feel like it doesn't have as strong of, like, a clear trio that it sets up, and actually, like, sticks with. And I guess, like, my boys, like, Kairi also suffers from just not being as big of a deal. Like, it's definitely more so their story than it is, like, Kairi's definitely important, but, like, she isn't, that's, like, she doesn't get that same sort of focus. And it does suck that it does tend to be, like, the girl character that gets treated like that. I mean, I get that these are series made for boys, but, I don't know. It is just frustrating, like, especially because there are trends across, like, plenty of things that I've read where it's just like, oh, you could have done so much more with that character. And, like, I know that, I don't remember what volume it's set in. Maybe if there's, like, a thing that's got, like, a Sakura illustration. But I do vaguely remember that it stood out to me where it was, like, the creator had never drawn a girl character before, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you became a professional mangaka and had never drawn a girl before. Because also, like, Mashal had a similar thing. And I'm like, what? How have you never just... What? That was, like, crazy to me. Like, is this just a common thing? Like, where they just... Like, no wonder, like, they can't write women. They've never practiced it. Like... And especially if, like, I don't know, they're throwing in girl characters because, like, an editor is saying, hey... we think that you need a girl character, like, they're not going to be as integral to the story, because they were tacked on later, they're not built into the fabric of it. But, I'm going to say, I think Naruto Volume 2 was an improvement over Volume 1, just because it didn't have some of the things that I disliked. It's definitely got, like, sort of a bit more action. We've got to have things a bit more established. I'm also someone that likes sort of more, like, I don't know, I just think that I'm getting into it more. The hype is hyping. Like, it had some really good moments. And yeah, I mean, I think my two favorite moments is definitely, like, the Naruto stabby stab and the Sasuke freaking out. I just want to give Sasuke a hug. This is just a child that just needs to not be put into, like, being essentially a child soldier. Bro needs to have a nice sort of house, maybe drink some chalky milk, play some video games, and live... Actually, all of them deserve a normal childhood. It's kind of funny reading stories, like, designed for kids, where, you know, like, kids are going around saving the world. Like, when you're an adult and you're like, guys, can you guys go have a childhood, please? I feel bad for you guys. Like, no. Leave this to the adults. I do like that something like Full Metal Alchemist kind of leans into that, like, where they don't actively have a force of children. And everyone's like, well, yeah, like... Because, I mean, in the universe of Naruto, like, I guess this is kind of just normal for kids to be doing jobs and stuff. Like, I mean, I guess culturally and like societally, like it is quite like people joined the workforce younger and stuff, and like kind of became adults, um, like younger and things. So maybe that's where they're leaning on. I don't know a lot about ninja history and mythology. I don't know how like accurate it is to like ninja stuff. Um, I don't have enough knowledge to sort of draw, but like there's definitely like cool sort of, especially like the chapter artworks between things. That'll have like all these cool weapons and things. And this volume has ads. So we got an ad for Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Full Color Saiyan Arc. That means nothing to me. I don't know Dragon Ball. We got Nisekoi. Okay, it looks like it's like a fake dating rom-com-y thing. Okay, they hate each other. Ranges a false love match. Okay, so they hate each other. Or something. So it's like an enemies to lover love triangle gang thing. We got Toriko. Is that the food one? Bizarrely entertaining. Gourmet Hunter. Okay, yeah, I think that is what I'm thinking of. I haven't read it. I just vaguely. We got Ruby, RWBY. I haven't seen it. We got, because I think it was a show first, not like a manga first. We got Demon Slayer. I've got volume 1 of Demon Slayer. It was at the art shop. What else? We got a few ads. I feel like when I first started buying volumes, they didn't have a lot of ads, but like and stuff. Promotions. We got Dr. Stone. We got One Piece, which is like that's a massive box set. That's only volumes 1 to 23. That's nothing of how many volumes does One Piece have? Like, how much space do you need just to have a collection of One Piece? We got Bakuman. I like Bakuman, but I am scared to reread it just because I know that there's some elements that are probably worse than some of the things I dislike about Naruto. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed. Not super gay, but we've still got what 70 more volumes. I'm sure that we're gonna get more, and even if we don't, if it keeps up this quality, I'm still going to have a grand old time. And I mean, we'll still, I guess, get to sort of deep dive and find out sort of, like, I'm curious about this conversation. This kind of stuff interests me, and it also just helps that I'm legitimately just enjoying what I'm reading. If it wasn't, like, it's probably closer to 3 a.m. now, I would read the next one straight away, but I need to not do that tonight as much as I am very tempted to. But yes, enjoy. It's Uzumaki approved.